What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sector for Nerds, and welcome to another episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars Retro Discussions. Today we're here to talk about Season 3, Episode 21, Padawan Lost. This episode was directed by Dave Filoni and written by Bonnie Mark. The cookie for this episode: without humility, courage is a dangerous game. Before we begin, you guys, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of great content going up every single week between videos, shorts, live streams. You guys definitely don't want to miss out on any of it. We are coming up on the end here of Season 3 for the Clone Wars Retro Discussions. Next week, we've got the finale episode. 2 weeks' time, we're going to have a discussion on Season 3 as a whole. And then in 3 weeks' time, you guys, we should be starting Season 4. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, definitely recommend you do so now. All right, here we go. Intro guy, let us know what's going down in this episode. Turmoil in the Outer Rim. Located near a major hyperspace lane, the planet Fuchia is caught in an unending battle between the Republic and Separatist forces. Clone tank divisions make a valiant push deep into Separatist-controlled territory, led by Anakin Skywalker and his Padawan Ahsoka TANO. General Grievous, learning of the impending Jedi attack, has dispatched reinforcements to one of his droid outposts, hoping to secure his grip on the system. Thank you, intro guy. And oh my gosh, a mention of Grievous. I feel like it's been a minute since we've seen him. And we don't see him at all in this episode, so that streak will continue. Man, I love how Anakin and Ahsoka still treat the Clone Wars like it's some kind of game instead of a war. Like, they're sitting there, like, bickering back and forth with each other, like, oh, you've got it tough there going through going up the entrance, and oh, you got it tough going up the back wall, and it's like, it's just kind of funny in that sense. They're trying to go after this separatist base that's on Felucia. We get like a couple cameos here. First off, from those little guys that we see from Season 2, like from that village they were helping. And then we also get Sinker and Boost, members of Wolfpack. We haven't seen them since like the start of Season 1. Even as a child, I popped for that because I'm like, oh, hey, I remember these guys. Because I watched Clone Wars so much when I was little, you see. Plo comes in from behind and a bunch of the clones have jetpacks, man. Oh, it was so cool. Don't turn your back on the Wolfpack. Anybody who understood that reference, go check out my pro wrestling podcast called the R&D Wrestling Podcast. Link should be at the end of this video. But during the middle of all this, like, Ahsoka senses something when she's walking through that forest, like, something's wrong, and, oh, it's probably just an animal. And then once she gets over to the base, all the clones make it up the wall, but she stays behind, and a Trandoshan jumps out of all living creatures there, attacks her, and kidnaps her.
Can't believe my luck. A Jedi Youngling, yeah.
And then we find out, like, oh, there's this whole group of Trandoshans that they hunt the Jedi for sport, or at least they hunt people for sport. They've captured a Jedi, so that's gotta mean something, right? We find out a little bit later that they actually only go after Jedi Younglings because Jedi Knights and Jedi Masters are too powerful for them. How noble of you, Trandoshans. They drop off all the prisoners on the beach, and they start shooting a bunch of them, and the ones that end up surviving are gonna end up being used for the hunt. But then, like, you know, we see Ahsoka just running around the forest on this planet, and all of a sudden these 3 other children jump down, and they're just like, hey, come with us. We used to be Jedi Younglings. And I was like, oh, whoa, okay, that's big information. They must have sensed Ahsoka's presence or something like that, right? Or they sensed that she was strong with the Force. That's how they knew to look for her. Man, I'll give Dave and crew credit here, man. When they're walking up that giant tree branch and walking like in their little treehouse bunk or whatever, they had a couple of beautiful shots there of them just running up the branch and the planet in the background. Really cool. We learn the names of these younglings are Khalifa, Omer, and Jinx. 1 female, 2 males. Jinx is a Twi'lek. Omer is one of Ki-Adi-Mundi's species, which I'm forgetting the name of at the moment, so I apologize. And I believe Khalifa is a human. Either that or I think Barasafi's species, but I think human. She looked more human. I love that you could see all the dirt on the younglings as well, just like to kind of show like, okay, these guys have clearly been doing this for a little while, like they've seen some action. I think what this episode does so well, and it's a huge credit to the Clone Wars, man, is you only have 22 minutes to tell each of these stories, and they used the 22 minutes that they had in this episode to really get you to know these younglings and kind of get invested in them a little bit. And it wasn't even the full 22 minutes, because the first part of the episode, like I said, was the Battle of Fuchia. So they had even less time to get us introduced to these guys. We cut back to Anakin, though, on Fuchia, and he's out. The battle's over. He's very pissed off. Plo tells him, look, we've gotten in with our contacts within the Republic, even those that are within the Confederacy. Like, if something happens, if somewhere she pops up, we're gonna find her. But then he also points out, look, our mission here is complete. We need to return to Coruscant. And Anakin's just super mad, right? Like, I'm not abandoning her. Plo just being like, your emotions are clouding your judgment. I will not leave her fate up to others. It is time to go. And eventually Anakin kind of caves in and is like, all right, call everybody in, Rex, we're leaving. After he just got telling him to go and look again. We go back to the Younglings, and it's about to be sunrise, but they're all woke up early besides Ahsoka. They have to get up early and avoid getting caught by the hunters for them to pick up on their scent, which is actually kind of smart. Man, when we're looking at that Trandoshan ship, though, you guys, like, look at all the, like, head trophies that they had on there, man. Like, all the people that they freaking killed there. There was a Wampa head, there were Wookiee heads, there was, I think, a Gungan head in there. So the Younglings find two people that were dropped off with Ahsoka on the last batch of prisoners, and Ahsoka wants to help them, but Khalifa's like, no, it's too late, and the Trandoshans end up killing them both. And Ahsoka's like just super upset about this, like, wait, why didn't we just help them there? And Khalifa has this line that like really sticks out with me every time I watch this episode, and sort of like their perspective on things is, she says, here we are not saviors, we are survivors. That's a crazy line, because the Jedi have always been the type of people that are meant to help others, but here they're just trying to survive. It's very like, I guess, sort of like post-Republic into the Empire sort of mentality for the Jedi, right? Like when you look at Obi-Wan in his show, when he says like, the fight is done, we've lost, like start a new life. That's kind of what the Younglings mentality is here. And Ahsoka gets super upset, and she's like, no, screw this then. I'm gonna just go off and do this on my own then. If you guys aren't gonna fight, I'm gonna do it. My master would never forgive me for running and hiding in a situation like this.
My master would never forgive me for running and hiding in a situation like this.
Do not overestimate your abilities.
I'm not.
Ahsoka, don't!
And I did find it, like, curious, like, why do they care about Ahsoka so much then? Like, if they're so set on not helping fight, why are they so set on helping her? But then it's like, okay, maybe they also figure there is strength in numbers when it comes to, like, you know, there being Jedi Younglings there. Maybe it had been a while since they brought a Padawan, which I think we do find out later that it had been a while. So they were probably just like, oh my gosh, another one of us, like, the more the merrier. And there is a point when she fights one of the Trandoshans, Ahsoka ends up getting super dirty. And so then for the rest of this arc, we see her, like, you know, as dirty as the Younglings are, all the dust and dirt that's on her. Khalifa was gonna, like, force choke a Trandoshan to death, and she's like, all right, yeah, you want to fight, let's fight. And Ahsoka's like, no, Khalifa, don't kill him out of hatred. That's not the Jedi way. But in the meantime, while she's got, like, her hands on her shoulders and just smiling at her, like, the Trandoshan yells for help, and it's like, okay, well, good going, guys. Like, we could have done something to, like, stop that from happening. But I guess maybe, you know, they wouldn't have known. They take out the Trandoshan before more arrive, and Ahsoka takes his blaster, so I'm like, oh, okay, cool, we've got a weapon now, we can start fighting back against these things. Unfortunately not, because I guess the Trandoshans are able to deactivate their blasters if they're taken, which is actually a really smart mechanism, I'll give them that. But it also explains why none of the Younglings have any. But Khalifa credits Ahsoka here, and she says, look, it's been a while since we've had a Youngling dropped off here. Like, I meant to, it's not as like a dig at you, it's a dig at them. It was a mistake on their part, because now with you being here, you've been able to help remind us of who we are, your energy, your strength. Which, now, by the way, I get freaking emotional every time I hear that line now about Khalifa talking about your energy and your strength. For those who haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go check out Heroes Fan Productions' Ahsoka tribute. There's a part towards the end where, like, you have all these people that are, like, complimenting Ahsoka, and one of them is that Khalifa line, and, like, I don't normally get emotional on camera, but if you go and watch my reaction to that video, I just start crying ridiculously.
Our friendships.
You might not think of yourself as a Jedi, but you act like one. Ahsoka,
Your energy.
There are going to be Jedi who disappoint us, Ahsoka.
Your strength.
But as long as we know there are good Jedi who fight for what's right,
It's what we've been lacking.
it makes it all worthwhile.
Or at least how I want them to be.
You're welcome to stay, Rex. Commander. This is your home, guys.
So yeah, thanks for that, Heroes Fan Productions. In all seriousness, a great tribute. For those who haven't seen it, go check it out. But yeah, now the Younglings are motivated to fight back against the Trandoshans, and now they're trying to figure out, well, where is their base? And they get up in the morning, they go to find it, they've searched everywhere, but oh, they're all looking in the wrong area. It's not on the ground, it's in the air. And so they start getting ambushed by the Trandoshans. The team splits up. We got the girls going one way, the boys going another. Khalifa ends up, I think, falling off one of the branches that she was jumping across. And so she's like easy pickings for someone to just snipe and kill. And the leader of this group tells his son, who I think his name is Dar, this is like his first hunt or whatever. This is going to potentially be his first Jedi kill. They really like keep hyping this kid up and like really like spoiling him, I guess, in like this idea that like, oh, this is all yours for the taking. This whole idea of like, you can just go and hunt these children. This kid doesn't know any better. So he just goes along with what they're doing, because this is, to them, okay. But instead of going to take the sniper shot, he says, no, I'm gonna go kill her with my own hands. Because once again, the cocky SOB. And it goes to backfire because obviously it's gonna end up being like 2-on-1 because Ahsoka, you know, is gonna help out her friend, of course. The kid is able to take Ahsoka down, but when he goes to charge at her, Ahsoka, like, you know, kicks him off of her and he falls off of the tree. And it shouldn't have, like, necessarily killed him. I mean, it would have been enough of a fall for him to be hurt. But he lands on this spike that just happened to be laying perfectly there for him to fall on. Just, like, completely unfortunate circumstances. But then Ahsoka goes to lift up Khalifa, and she immediately gets shot by the father, who is now super upset that his son has now died.
It's okay. I can make it.
Khalifa!
Those Jedi whelps killed my son, Youngling! There's no escape! I'll hunt you down!
What's that one saying? The sins of the father are to be laid upon the children? I'm not sitting here saying that I agree with that quote, but I think that this moment is a good example of that philosophy coming true. That was not Ahsoka's fault that that kid died. Once again, he could have taken the shot from his speeder. He got cocky. Also, problem number one is maybe these people shouldn't be hunting children, because that's just messed up in general. But two, the fact that these specific children are Jedi, like they have Force powers that they can use. If Jedi Knights and Masters are too powerful for you, just maybe don't target Jedi at all? You're telling me, Trandoshans, that y'all have nothing better to do with your time? Y'all could have started, like, your own little, like, wrestling organization or something, or, like, pro fighting thing or something. Make a ton of money off of that. Make your own little business there. Why speak of conflict when corporation can make us all rich, as Boba Fett would say? Anyway, moving on. Khalifa ends up dying. It's a very sad moment. I will say this. I feel like the way that this episode was meant to end, right? It was meant to be like both a sad ending, but also like you're supposed to kind of be scared for Ahsoka here. It's like, all right, Ahsoka, yeah, like you've got to go. These people are still after you. Unfortunately, when I was a child and I watched this episode for the first time, I could not get over how funny that the dad sounded when he kept... First of all, the fact that he kept shooting his blaster when they clearly weren't in sight, were the Younglings. And he's just sitting there like, I kill you! You kill my son! I kill you! As a child, I could not stop laughing. I thought it was the funniest thing. I didn't take him seriously at all. I'm like, what are you doing right now?
I'll kill you! You killed my son! I'll kill you!
Obviously, as you get, you know, older, you understand more what they were going for. I'm just saying, when I was a child, I don't think it worked for me. But again, like, the Khalifa part, I did feel really sad for, because she sat there like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to make it. Ahsoka's like, come on, we gotta go, we can do this. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna be able to make it, Ahsoka. And she's like trying to say that like she wants Ahsoka to like watch after the other two, but she can't like get the words out because she's out of breath. And Ahsoka just says it to her, like, I'll take care of the others. And her last words were, I know you will.
Please. Ahsoka, leave me.
I won't.
You have to. Ahsoka, please take care.
I'll take care of the others.
I know you will.
Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, you know what that guy reminded me of when he kept saying, like, I kill you? It's Ahmed the terrorist. That's what it is. Now, as a child, I wouldn't have known who Ahmed was, but now I'm even finding it funny now that I'm relating it to that. Silence, I kill you. The way he says, I kill you, I knew I've heard that before.
I'll kill you! You killed my son! I'll kill you!
Alright, moving on. I'm harping on this for too long. We get to the final part of this episode where Plo is talking with Anakin in the Jedi Temple, and he basically says, look, if you've trained her well, Ahsoka will be able to take care of herself and find a way back to you.
I am suggesting that perhaps, if you have trained her well, she shall take care of herself and find a way back to you.
Because Plo can clearly tell that, like, Anakin's emotions are getting the better of him, which is kind of a forbidden thing for a Jedi, right? And this kind of goes back to Season 2 when Anakin thought that he lost Ahsoka during the Battle of Geonosis, right? It's just this idea that, like, he cannot let go of her because he cares about her so much. And the whole point of putting Anakin with a Padawan, at least according to Yoda, is, like, to teach Anakin the ability to let go. And if anything, it only makes that worse. The experiment failed. And man, with like foreshadowing, it's only going to get worse as this show goes on. And that concludes this episode, you guys. Next week, we're going to talk about part 2 to this little finale arc called Wookiee Hunt. Oh, this one's going to be fun. Make sure you guys are staying tuned next week. Thank you all so much for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
What is that?
It's a Wookiee.